Good afternoon to everyone. I'm Slavko Rakic, and it's my pleasure to welcome you to our webinar series for DigiEduHack initiative for 2025. During these webinars, we will actually prepare the student, teacher, educators, and also EdTech enthusiasts to be well prepared for our DigiEduHack competition, which is scheduled for this November. We will start with this one DigiEduHack webinar, which is related maybe to the most hottest topic in the world related to artificial intelligence and the use of AI tools in the education, teaching, and learning. Also, I'm so proud to announce that we will have 6 webinars. First one this in April, but also in May, June, and like another series of webinars in September, October, and November. So hopefully, nice to have all you with us, and let's start with our webinar. As you all know, artificial intelligence is rapidly transforming education across Europe and offering some new opportunities which we cannot imagine before maybe 10 or 20 years. And the recent studies indicated that AI in education market is projected to grow significantly. And according to this, we start this DigiEduHack webinar series with this topic. But as you all know, the AI also coming with many challenges related to the way of use, related to the data protection and other things, but also how we can imagine these tools will change the learning and teaching. And I'm delighted to have a panel of our estimated speakers who will share their insights and experience. And I would like now to shortly introduce the speakers of today's webinars. We have speakers from 4 European countries: Professor Amila Akagic, professor from University of Sarajevo from Bosnia and Herzegovina. Also, Eva Maria Infragner, CEO of Materena EdTech company from Austria, and also PhD student at Johannes Kepler University in Linz. Mihaela Chernko, partnership lead from International Research Center on Artificial Intelligence from Slovenia, and Professor Vlad Bokanet from the Technical University of Cluj-Napoca from Romania. Nice to have all you there, and maybe we can start with the first part of our webinar, and let's delve in our first segment on AI in classrooms, real use cases. And I'm joined by our estimated speakers for these first 20 minutes. That is Amila Akagic from Bosnia and Herzegovina and Vlad Bokanet from Romania. Welcome you both. Please, Amila, could we start with you? Could you shortly introduce yourself to our attendees?
Yes, thank you very much for a very nice introduction, and I'm very happy to be here. I'm associate professor at the Faculty of Electrical Engineering, University of Sarajevo, and I teach several courses. Some of them are related to AI, but I also teach courses related to embedded systems and computer architectures.
Thank you, Amila. Vlad, please could you introduce shortly yourself?
Sure. Thank you, Slavko. Hi, my name is Vlad Bokanet. I'm an associate professor at the Technical University of Cluj-Napoca in the Department of Manufacturing Engineering. And yeah, I teach statistics and quality management, but yes, the statistics part is my gateway towards AI and machine learning.
Okay, nice to have you both here, and maybe Amila, we can start with you. Could you share your insights on how AI actually has influenced student learning experience in Bosnia and Herzegovina?
Yeah, I noticed a lot of changes after introduction of ChatGPT, since ChatGPT is kind of the tool that everyone is talking about, even though AI exists for a long period of time. But ChatGPT kind of made quite interesting fuss, let's say, and in terms of changes that I noticed that my students are using ChatGPT quite often, and when writing papers or when writing some proposals, something like that, I noticed that their English language or the text that is written in English is much better, which is very good. And also, since I'm a researcher, I'm doing a lot of reviews for research papers. I also noticed that the level of the text is much better, which is easier to read and understand, and I think that's a good thing. And in terms of my students and what is happening in the classroom, I believe that tools such as ChatGPT are kind of helping in delivering lectures more easily, because students now have opportunity to consult a tool that is available for 24 hours, 7 days a week, and they don't have to wait for anyone to ask questions and understand concepts, which are maybe difficult, because these tools do have some type of adaptability in terms of the level that the student requires. Also, there was a language barrier, because if you do not have access to the text that is not in your language, that it is quite difficult to get that knowledge. And now with tools such as ChatGPT, it's easier to get to knowledge and easier to understand some difficult concepts. Of course, with the AI tools in general, there are some problems that are also related to the usage of these tools, and one of those problems is over-reliance. Using AI tools in the situations when you do not have like a domain knowledge can become a problem, because students typically do not have enough knowledge to make a critical decision if the text that was generated by ChatGPT is it correct or not correct, or is it true or not true. So it's this type of problem is called over-reliance. And I think that's the problem that needs to be addressed. So students should be careful in using these tools, because they do not have critical knowledge to assess if the text is correct or not correct, or usable or not usable. But also, there is also need to learn new skills. Because now students need to understand how to make a prompt, or how to create a prompt in order to get the output that they want. And also, you need to be able to integrate tools such as ChatGPT in the work that you do, and specific type of knowledge is also needed in that terms. So that would be my experience.
Okay, thank you, Amila, for this detailed experience, and nice to hear that from you. And also, Lad, how is situation about in Romania? Which shift have you observed with the integration of AI in classrooms?
It's somewhat similar in our case as well. Using AI is still somewhat a taboo subject, so the students don't really like to admit that they're using ChatGPT. But at least from the little contact I had with their material, it's easy to tell when it's written with AI. In my lectures, I don't require a lot of written part, meaning like reports or essays and things like that. It's more technical, so they try to use it for problem solving. And if you don't give it the correct context, it can be very easily misleading. So it's like Camila said, if you don't have the background, if you don't have the context, it's quite easy to fall in this trap that it looks genuine, it looks correct, but it actually isn't. So, but students learn how to use it better and better, and I actually urge them to use it, because I teach statistics. I even ask them if they know how ChatGPT works, and the two most common misconceptions are that it uses a database where it gets the information, or it searches the internet, which are both not true for the language model, I mean. And then I explain to them how, of course, in broad terms, how it works. And by understanding how it works, you are better able to use it, in my opinion. And yeah, I think it's going to be tools like ChatGPT, not necessarily ChatGPT, will be used more and more in the classroom and outside. Of course, there is this threat of over reliance, and of course, the more information we have to process, the less we'll be able to do it very thoroughly, you know. So at one point, yes, we will have to trust it that it will give us the correct answers. So yes.
Yeah, it was also the so similar experience, because now we had some some special workshops with talented students in the high schools. And it was typically for Serbia, for example, that the students in high schools now better how to actually use some of AI tools than the teachers, because in these teachers are like in the schools are not so awareness about the new technologies, about AI. And according to this, Lad, I would like to stay with you, and could you maybe highlight which some of tools are actually used by educators in Romania? What is your experience? On which level actually this is used, the AI tools, and which of the tools are familiar with educators in Romania? Maybe not in the high schools, but also at the university level, as you are one of professors.
So from what I have talked to with my colleagues, the main tool most people rely on is ChatGPT. Some might use, I don't know, Claude or Gemini, but it's a sort of large language model that you interact with directly. And there are some other tools that some use. For example, for generating visual content, Canva has a really good AI assistant, and also SciSpace is really useful, but not necessarily in education, but more in research. But I think you can do most of the work with the tools that are provided in the ChatGPT interface. So yeah, these are the most common ones.
Yeah, it's the same in Serbia. They're all of them using ChatGPT, but I'm not so sure it's used in the proper way, as Amila said in the previous part of the discussion. And Amila, what is the situation in Bosnia and Herzegovina? Which AI tools or application is the most used by the
similar
teachers?
similar as Vlad said, I would just maybe add the Llama, which is available freely to be used on your computer, which is also quite important if the privacy is an issue. If you don't want to send any information to ChatGPT, Llama is a very good option because you can have it on your PC with the not so demanding GPU, and it's very interesting to have a large language model on your PC that you can experiment with and also build applications on top of that. Because I believe we live in a very interesting times, and we will probably see a lot of new tools developing, not just by these big companies like OpenAI or Google or similar, but also by smaller universities or even high school students. Who knows? I mean, the opportunity is there. We just need to invest in education and to show students how these applications can be built. And I think we will see a lot of interesting tools developed by students. And I would also like to see some problems that are typical in one society solved by these tools. I would like students to think, okay, what are the problems that I can solve or I can address by using a very simple tools that are available today just on internet. I would like to see that as well. And personally, besides the tools that we already mentioned, like ChatGPT, Llama, Claude, or the Gemini, or Perplexity, or something like that, I'm also a researcher, so I'm on the other side of this AI paradigm shift, because I like to work on building new algorithms or designing new algorithms. So I also try to invest a lot of time thinking about the problems that can be solved by new models. And I believe there is a lot of opportunity within smaller cultures such as mine, because we do not have so many advantages in using ChatGPT, because our language is not that much supported by these type of large language models. There is support, but the output that is generated is not very does not have very high quality. And also there is another level that we can think about, and that is that these tools typically require us to enter what we are looking for with our fingers, you know. But we can also use our voice in order to talk to these models. And if you want to talk in your own local language, there are not a lot of tools that support this translation from the speech to text, and also text to speech or speech to speech and so forth. So there is a lot of opportunity for the local community to build such applications.
Amila, Vlad, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, I think we lose Amila for the seconds. Yeah.
That we can take. Yeah.
Okay, we lose some like last things from you. I think it was like technical reasons, but no ways. We'll go maybe with the last question in this first section. And okay, we now covered the topics related to how students and teachers use it already. But if you are talking about digital educational hackathons, the competition, and students, teachers, educators need to develop some new solutions for the 24 hours, it could be like the big challenge for all of them. And as we all know, during the COVID pandemic, we actually were affected by these different things, and we usually start to use this blended learning or digital tools. And what is your experience? Which kind of AI tools, or can you propose some digital technologies which you think that could increase the engagement of students? Because it could be like the good solution. And do you have seen some improvements in student engagement with these AI tools? Like short answers from Amila first, and after that Vlad, and then we can go in the second segment. So.
Yes, I think the good thing is that students are more interested in joining this AI project. So, for example, right now I have a class that is called artificial students, and they can use ChatGPT or some other tools. Let's try projects, or let's try to give them projects. And I really like this concept of learning, you know, by doing projects. But it's kind of difficult to organize, because you need to think about, okay, how am I going to give these students like at least 50 type of projects, you know? So that was a kind of interesting thing. And when you are designing also AI tools or AI programs, typically you need a lot of data sets or a lot of data. So I also gave them an opportunity to invest some time in designing data sets. So it was kind of interesting to think about the problems that we can address, and, you know, design these concepts. And I was expecting a little bit of resistance from them, because it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work on, you know, just developing these algorithms. Then it's a lot of work to work on the data sets. But I noticed that they were quite happy in just participating in this, you know, in developing programs that could probably change some of the societal aspects. So in my opinion, it was a very positive approach. So one of the examples or one of the applications was just identifying different type of animals in the natural surroundings. So I reached out to a colleague that is actually filming or has these videos of animals in the wild, and he was actually very happy to provide us these videos. And my students are now working on building the object detection algorithms that can be used in real life situations. And another project was handwritten text recognition in Bosnian. So we are trying to collect a lot of text, a lot of written text on the papers, and then scanning the papers, and then trying to label them, and then building the tools that can recognize this text. And this can be used for a lot of applications. So that's it for me.
Yeah. Thank you, Amila. And Vlad, do you have some suggestion for the students, which could be good proposals to use AI to increase student engagement in their application during this hackathon?
Well, it's difficult. I mean, although the number of tools after ChatGPT have exploded, there are very few that actually bring significant benefit. So, at least from my experience, I learned how to use ChatGPT to talk to it, to get it to do whatever I needed to do. So I would urge people to first start with the basics. So learn how to use ChatGPT in a proper manner, and if you know how to prompt it, it will give you all the information you need. It's also the gateway to learning other stuff. It's changing the paradigm of education. I mean, now we could say we have just-in-time education. You know, you need a skill, you go to ChatGPT, or you need some information, you go to ChatGPT, find out, and you can use it immediately. So you don't need to learn the specific things that you might need sometimes later. So you can just learn it before you need it. And using this, I think it opens up a lot of opportunities to even generate new ideas, or now it has a search capabilities, so it can even find new tools. So I would stick with a basic, if we can call it basic tool, and then take it from there.
Okay, thank you. So some basic tools, and maybe we need to think out of the box, like to cover some critical thinking and some like design thinking methods in the minds, and to see how we actually could utilize these AI tools to create some better future. And okay, before we will go to the second segment, I will show one poll for you, and you can answer on it to see actually how familiar are you with the use of AI tools in your educational context. It's for our attendees, and you can just share your insights, and we will see it, how it looks. Okay, the results are interesting. Okay, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, done. Okay, I will now show the responses, because the percentage are not changing too much, because I think that now you can see how familiar are you with the use of AI tools in your educational context. You can see that 82% of our attendees, which we have more than 100 attendees, regularly use AI tools in classrooms or educational settings. And I think that is the clear message from our attendees what will be the future of the education. Okay, now we can transition in our next discussion, and we shift the focus. We shift the focus to the critical themes on AI, which are related to ethics, bias, and GDPR in the context of AI in education. And I'm pleased to welcome our distinguished speakers for this segment. This is Mihaela Crnko from Slovenia and Eva Maria Infagner from Austria. First, Michaela, please, could you shortly introduce yourself? After that, we'll go with Eva Maria and we will start with our discussion.
Thank you, Slavko. And also thank you for inviting me to join this distinguished panel. And thank you to all the participants for taking the time already. So I'm Michaela Chemko, coming from IRCA, International Research Center on AI under the auspices of UNESCO. We work from Ljubljana, Slovenia. And I believe that my contribution here, or I hope, is with the understanding of international frameworks of policy development and all of that, all those foundations that are needed to kind of share the responsibility with teachers and students regarding AI. Thank you.
Thank you, Michaela. Eva Maria, please could you introduce yourself?
Also, I want to thank you for the invitation. It's really interesting to listen to other people how they're looking at AI. I'm from Upper Austria in Linz at JKU. I'm a trained teacher, also PhD student at the Code Center, working with adaptive engines and adaptive teaching and learning. Also, I'm a founder of Arena, and they're developing content, but also developing algorithms like deep learning algorithms similar to AI research. Thank you.
Thank you, Eva Maria. Michaela, could we start with you? And could you share, please, some experience with the schools from Slovenia? How you actually navigated these GDPR complaints with integrating AI technologies in schools? Do you have some regulations?
Well, of course, the directive has been in place, and in Slovenia, actually, the legislation before it was quite effective. In some regards, it even had a higher standard than GDPR. So there was also a very good institutional protection of these rights. And so mostly that would be the information officer, excuse me, of Slovenia, who would be dealing with recommendations and also day-to-day issues. So to give a naive example, a teacher or a headmaster of a school would also be able to reach out directly to the office and get a statement on data issues. Of course, this was in schools very, very well regulated even before AI. And these questions right now probably do not have such a bigger scope than they did before, because it was really dealt with a lot of sensitivity and sensibility even before.
Thank you, Michaela. And what is the situation in Austria? Yeah, Maria, you as one of the founder of the EdTech companies, and they used also your app and other things. Maybe you can share some insights from the Austrian schools related to the GDPR complaints in the context of AI adoption.
So yes, we are very sensitive, especially regarding education. So this creativity used especially so everyone is in texts, and you know how it feels when somebody is taking what you have done. So teachers are very critical about it and discussing it a lot with their students. And also we have to be very careful as EdTechs, how we are using it and how we are guaranteeing GDPR issues. But also in using the data collected as an EdTech. So we have to be very careful to not lose our credibility. So GDPR is what issue?
Okay, thank you, Eva Maria. And maybe Michaela, also, we are interested in these things. Okay, we have some regulations in all of the countries, and also we have this AI Act from European Union, which actually defined the proper usage of AI in classrooms. But on the other hand, what do you think, per your perspective, from the students? Are students responsible during the usage of these AI tools? What is some experience from Slovenia?
If you look at AI as a tool, of course, the one who uses this tool in whatever intent, they are responsible. Everyone's responsible for their actions. Absolutely. And this is also from the perspective of development of the AI Act, not only the actual text that was adopted last year. I would say that there has been a lot of emphasis on the responsibility, where to place the responsibility. Is it the developer? Is it maybe a company, a private sector who's dispersing this product, or is it the user? Well, what I would like to point out here for the educational context is that students use this for educational purposes. If it's a tool that has been sort of introduced by the institution, by the educational institution, then there need to be some safeguards around what type of tool is being introduced to the students. And in this case, I think that liability on ethical use has to be shared again with a lot of stakeholders and quite a lengthy process.
Thank you, Michaela. And according to the perspective from educators in Austria, Eva Maria, do you feel equipped? Do you feel like comfortable to share how actually educators in Austria feel equipped in handle these ethical dimensions of the AI in teaching practices? Because that is not only challenge from the students, but also from the teachers and educators.
This responsibility as a person is really important. So it was the first challenge or a topic. All teachers and educators were discussing how to make students aware of their responsibility. How to be honest about it. So it's great and okay to use AI, but still we have to show that we are using it and how we are using it. So teachers, I think, are trying to give a good role model in that regard. They are curious about using it and testing it during lessons, during teaching, and also discussing it with their students. So students see how adults are dealing with that, and we hope to make them aware how important it is. So our students are the future stakeholders in that direction, so we have to think about this as well. And this critical thinking, as it is so important because of history, is something we have lots of methods already we can use. So one example really is using visualizing AI tools, different ones, and then mainly prompting, and the prompt is giving the X, for example. So they are training on visualizations with them where AI can make mistakes. And I think that's one really graspable example how we could train them on different levels of development. So K5 is also possible here already to show them where to look at, where the mistakes.
Thank you, Eva Maria. Now we cover these like two main topics related to the general rules from the government or European Commission, which cover the usage of AI in the schools, but also what are you think for responsibility from the students and the teachers who are actually performing it in the daily life. But now if we are going to see how it could be affected in the DigiEduHack hackathon, and because many of our like participants and actually in different countries, they would like to approach with some AI solution to be like the winner, because if you provide something related to AI that is actually amazing, it could make you closer to be the winner of the global competition across the whole Europe and wider, which this initiative is actually active. And also, Michaela, could you please share by your experience which actually risks you see in using AI in the educational, because if we are talking about you can promises a lot of things, but there are many risks which could be affected from the AI as the modern technology in the teaching and learning. Could you mention some of them for our participants?
Yeah, there's a lot to discuss, but perhaps now I have the opportunity to see which I find most important. I would say that a loss or lowering of critical thinking is something that's probably might be in the scope of a long-term damages that we might be doing by widely using these tools that give us information and structure information in a way that we need to do some checkpoints. So I think that I should be aware that here probably this is the big role of the teacher to go with the AI systems and solutions and follow through the critical thinking aspect of it. I would say this one is pretty big. In other, I mean, there's also many other like indirectly connected topics with AI in education. If from my work and my role, which is also development, cooperation, international development, AI can widen the gap. And I think this was one question in the Q&A also. In underdeveloped regions, in rural areas, with low connectivity, with a low infrastructure for AI, it can even more widen the gap in achieving Sustainable Development Goal 4, so equity education for all. So I would say maybe these two would be the top two.
Thank you for your top insights, Michaela. And yeah, this topic of sustainable development goals along with the AI could actually benefit a lot from participants, because if they develop something which will cover these sustainable development goals and make it through some education, it could be like some gamification, it could be like the maybe perfect solution for the all of participants across the Europe. And Eva Maria, also like if you are talking about participants and okay, when using AI, we are looking to innovation, but how we actually could balance between innovation and responsibility in our solution when we would like to deploy AI in the classrooms?
I think the term here would be human-centered design. So I see lots of research and innovation done focusing on the nice possibilities with this new toy we have, and it's great. But some of the inventors forget about thinking if it's necessary or helpful for human beings. So this could help this switch or integration of both perspectives. So we are trying to do it in our team, this user-centered design, to always ask students and teachers if those selections or user journeys are helpful really for them, that we can use it in learning or school learning, because learning and learning in school or in lessons is very different. I think most people aren't aware of this, especially EdTech developers. So I think it could be helpful to tell them teachers are not so much as hard users or nuisance, but the help we should address or ask of them, that they give us feedback how to develop further.
Thank you, Eva Maria and Michaela.
Maybe if I'm allowed to add one more thing.
For sure.
I hear a lot of misunderstandings in the direction of knowledge. Do we need knowledge to learn? I think it's really important to have this knowledge. Otherwise, the critical thinking, if we don't have our basic skills and basic knowledge or common knowledge we're talking about, because how should we then think about or analyze the output we're getting from an AI?
Okay, thanks, Eva Maria. And also, Michaela, these insights provide one comprehensive overview of the ethical usage. And now, yeah, in the first part, we cover positive things, in another, some challenging things related to the usage of AI tools. And we would like also now to ask in the second poll our attendees about their things, and also to welcome you to put some questions in the Q&A section, because in the last part we'll discuss some more things about the future outlook for the AI, but also we will try to cover all of questions which you mentioned in the Q&A section. And now we can go with the second poll. Only to okay. Sorry. I hope that now you can see the pool, and the questions is actually, what do you believe is the biggest ethical concession when using AI in education? Okay, they are interesting results. Okay, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, done. Okay, I will share the results with you, and you can see, like all of us, like in the deal, because all percentages are pretty much similar, and they cover actually all important topics, such as on the top level is over-reliance on technology in teaching, what is one of the main issue, but also some of the algorithm bias and student data privacy in GDPR, and lack of transparency in AI decision making. And I think for our participants and attendees, and also competitors in DigiEduHack, it could really important to have these transparency things in their solution, and to show actually how AI can be really used. So you're welcome to ask questions in the Q&A section, and we will start now with this like final part of our discussion. We will have all of our 4 speakers, and we will explore the future outlook and show cases of AI in education. And I'm pleased to welcome back Vlad and Damila, and now all of us are on the same boat. Okay, maybe we can start to give some pause to Michaela and Eva Maria, and start with questions to Amila and Vlad, because you are now fresh after this short break. Amila, when we are talking about teachers' role in playing AI in personalized learning environments, how do you envision the evolving role of these teachers as AI continues to personalize learning experience? Can you share some of your insights?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you. Thank you for this interesting question, because I guess everyone is thinking about, am I going to have a job in the next few years? And teachers are one of those people that are trying to answer this question. And in my opinion, I believe that teachers remain absolutely essential in the classroom. But of course, their role is evolving. No one knows how, but we know, all of us know that somehow the role is evolving. So I think the AI is very good at content delivery. So you can ask question, and the question will be answered, and students can read the answers, and they probably will understand it. But AI cannot connect to students on a personal level. They cannot understand emotions of the students. So, and I think if you want to be a good teacher, you need to understand the emotional state of the group of people that you're teaching. I believe that in that terms, teachers are essential in the classroom. And I remember this study that is called Artificial Intelligence in Service. And if you haven't read it, I recommend reading it. And basically, this study tries to describe 4 types of intelligence. So the first one is mechanical intelligence, which is very basic, like a low-level intelligence, which describes ability to perform routine and repetitive tasks. And then there is an analytical intelligence which is dealing with the problem solving, and then there is intuitive intelligence which is more related to creative thinking and adaptation to a different situation. And the fourth level is empathetic intelligence, and I think this one is the most important one, because it describes creative thinking and also adaptation to new situations. And as I said before, if you are a teacher in a classroom, you need to understand the emotional state of your students and to adapt to that emotional state. In order, if you are in a mission of delivering knowledge to your student, and if you care about your students in that way, and I understand that not many teachers are in that process, but for example, for me, that's a very important aspect of me as a teacher. I want, at the end of the class, I want my students to understand the concepts, and I want them to ask questions. So in that terms, I think that teachers are essential in the classroom, and it will be very difficult to replace them with AI.
Thank you, Amila, from your insights. And yeah, that is like some of the crucial things to like mix this also collaboration between teachers and the AI systems. And I take a look also to the Q&A section, and I'll try to merge these questions and try to cover all of them from our participants. And Vlad, how do you envision the collaboration between educators and AI system? And also maybe you could provide some answer also from our attendees. Do you think in the future AI will be an important tool to use, or something else will overcome it? What do you think?
Thank you for the question. And actually, I wanted to tie it to something Mihaela said, that one of the worries is that we will be losing or diminishing our critical thinking. So I would argue that we will need critical thinking more than ever. So the role of the teacher changed over time. For most of the time, the teacher was the provider of information. So students would gather in the classroom to hear the teacher speak. After that, we started having access to information, more information than we can handle. So the teacher role changed into this facilitator. The teacher would guide you through this ocean of information and help you structure it and use it so it becomes useful. Now AI is also providing us the information and structuring it. So our role needs to change again. We need to be able to distinguish between information that is given us by this tool. So the AI is still a tool. And we need to learn how to use it. So we need to put it into practice. And like Camila said, there's also the empathy part, the human-to-human connection, which we cannot do with a machine. Although more and more start to simulate human behavior, and yeah, we talk to ChatGPT and to other models, but still, if even for creation, for ideation, once you work long enough with ChatGPT, for example, that's my experience, you start to notice some patterns, some limitations, some a box that it is in, a metaphorical box, of course, and you notice that it doesn't have the capacity of innovation that humans do. It cannot think outside the box. It only uses the knowledge it already has, so it's constrained by this. So this is where I find the problem and the opportunity at the same time, because ChatGPT, or AI, any AI system can give us some information that we can further develop as educators, as students, and it's a very useful tool in doing this, in facilitating a broader discussion between educators and students. So yeah, I think it's going to be a very helpful tool for both students and teachers. Students can also use it to catch up to some terms or knowledge that they lack. They can do it very quickly nowadays. And yeah, they can participate in this discussion, which can be very, very enlightening. No?
Thank you, Vlad, for your insights. And maybe we can switch to the next speaker, but also to try to cover this you, Amila and Vlad, you're like talking about these developing things, but when we are in some issues related to some challenges, then we come back also to Michaela and Eva Maria, but it's now coming from the Q&A section. And Michaela, maybe you can help us with some answer on the can AI actually helps to close this educational gap between the rural and urban schools in Europe, or you think that this AI will make the most significant gap between these rural and urban schools in Europe? It's also coming as one of the questions from Q&A section.
I saw it. It's a very interesting question. It's mostly interesting if you try to focus it on Europe. Because if you look at it globally, then as I mentioned earlier, the answer is definitely yes, of course, because rural or underdeveloped, underserved areas of the world without even proper connectivity, I mean, with the rise of AI in education, of course, it's something that international organizations need to look into, and they do. Looking at Europe, I know that the European Commission has been promoting in many different projects and financing schemes the access to internet and the infrastructure that is needed. Coming from the perspective of Slovenia, I can say proudly that I think we have an excellent education system. That of course there are differences between rural and city ways of life in the end that should kind of transcend to schools, and there is different use of digital technologies in general in rural areas than in the cities. But as we all have access to internet, as we pretty much all have access to smart devices, I think this divide in Europe would not be enlarged. But it would be good to look at it properly. This is based on of course previous experience looking at the internet and the approach of schools and like national ministries of education, making sure that really everyone in the country has the same access to education. But it's an interesting question to look at further, but I wouldn't express any concern about it based on what I know in Europe.
Yeah, thank you, Michaela. And that is also a really important thing, actually, how it could, it will be positive or negative trends, because everyone, as you mentioned, is sustainable development goals need an equal type of learning and teaching, and we need to use these AI tools to make this gap and to pass them. But also, we know if we don't have internet access or other things, we can actually make the huge gap between developed and undeveloped region or places. And I will try to, like Eva Maria, with you to cover two of the questions from Q&A and actually I will try to like manage it, because we have questions. Do you think that apps like ChatGPT actually increase the digital divide due to limited access? We actually cover it from Michaela, but also we have this like what we are thinking about inclusive and adaptive learning across different languages, cultures, and learning styles. Now I have seen that we have the Q&A from Estonia, who is actually on the first place on the PISA testing, and now they are launching this AI Lab 2025. Estonia sets the global standards of AI in education, but we have some other countries and also some participants from the non-European Union countries. And what are you think? How do we ensure that AI tools are inclusive and adaptable across different languages, cultures, and learning styles?
That's a complex question, a very interesting and very important one. So for one, the first step was and is to be creative about it, how to use it. So everyone is trying to find ways how to use it, most of us in an ethical way. So I think this experimentation phase was and is very important. Right now, it would be or is a challenge, a necessary one, to collect all our experimental results, our experiences, also again the challenges we encountered, so that we have data for best case scenarios, but also needs for standards we should set. And I think here policymakers are responsible to discuss about standards we have to meet. And I think lots of EdTechs experience this. The standards are the highest in medical issues, but also educational issues, because here we are talking about future generations. So we have to be very careful what we are doing and what we are exposing our students to. I think Estonia is one of the best places to start to find such standards because of how I got to know these people. So it's a personal experience I'm sharing here, and nothing objective thing, but they are willing as a whole people to experiment in that direction. So I'm also in contact with educational researchers there, and they really think creatively about it. So we need new standards. It's a new situation, and standards can be quite limiting, but hopefully we will find some ways to limit where it's necessary, but to keep the space free where it's helpful to leverage and to try out more in experimental ways. So I hope this answer keeps some of your questions and covers some of the complexity.
Thank you, Maria. And during your answering, I also assume that we maybe cover this answer, because now in our panel we have actually you as the representatives from the EdTech companies, Michaela, who is representative from the Research Center on AI, and we have two professors, Vlad from the EU country and Mila from non-EU country, and we show that all of us working in the AI, and definitely I think that we actually need to make this inclusive and adaptable usage of AI in our classrooms. And now, actually, thank you because we are coming like to the last part, and I would like to say that it was my pleasure, and thank you, Mila, Eva, Maria, Michaela, and Vlad, for sharing your perspective on the future of AI in education. It was really useful for myself to hear all of evidence and insights from you, and I'm so sure that your insights will help our actually participants in the DigiEduHack to prepare themselves better, and our video will be uploaded on the YouTube channel of DigiEduHack, and all others will have access to prepare themselves for this competition. Also, during this time, I would like to say that announce that next webinar will be in May 2025, and as we are trying to, like according to your questions, to adopt it in the as much as possible countries. Now we have these 4 countries, and the speakers for the next webinar will be from Sweden, Norway, Italy, and Belgium, and we will speak about digital literacy in education. And once, thanks to all speakers and thanks to all attendees for your attention and also for your questions. It was a really impressive discussion for for all of us. And that is it for the first DigiEduHack webinar 2025. And see you soon. We will follow up you with some emails. See you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.